Now, Apache Hadoop is a fully open source project. It's by the Apache Software Foundation. So all of the developers in an open source project develop to the community. So every line of code that gets written by HortonWorks, per se, for the people who commit to that world, gets contributed back to the community and put into open source. So what we do is we take, and we are innovating, really, Apache Hadoop so that it becomes enterprise grade and stable, and the enterprise can be confident in what Hadoop does. What we do is we are a pure open source company. I like to think that our engineers work more for the community than they do for us sometimes. Every line of code they create goes back into the community. I think we pay their salaries and their healthcare benefits, but really all that IP that we create goes back into the common good. What we do is we provide support and services around that, and also training. Because if you're going to use Hadoop for a large or a big data processing problem to solve one of these problems, and it's going to be in a mission critical environment, you're going to need some sort of support and services. And that's what HortonWorks does really around the Hadoop ecosystem. Beyond being stewards of the core, beyond innovating Hadoop, we want to support and make sure enterprises are adopting Hadoop. I think there's a lot of things that are doable now or plausible that just weren't available before. If we think about, we have this inception of, the electric car, right? An electric car is going to consume a fair amount of energy, right? When you plug it into your friend's house, how is that pulling energy? And is your friend now paying for that energy? Why can't we make a phone smart enough to register with a grid that when I charge my phone at your house, it's going to charge my electric bill, right? And that's the kind of, personal usage pattern that I find extremely interesting, right? And extremely interesting for the consumer. Right, and that's when we get to the point where it's more personal. And is that far away? I don't think it's that far away. We can understand who belongs to a phone. We understand who belongs to a car. We have the real-time communications. We have the back-end systems to do this munging of all the data to kind of pull it together, to understand how that gets billed and rated and all these things. It's a matter of kind of weaving all the components together, I think, at this point. I think we're almost there, and I think it's just a matter of time before we get there. I like to think of Hadoop as being transformative to the enterprise. Right, I've been in enterprise software for a long time, and that's really the space that I live in. And I believe that big data is transforming the way that we interact with each other today. I mean, think about LinkedIn and Facebook and Flickr and all the web properties that have changed our lives. The way that you and I communicate today is completely different than what it was 5 years ago, let alone 3 years ago. And so it has its effect in a lot of different ways. I guess I haven't really opened up my eyes to how it affects utilities, right? And how do we become, more green, if you will, right? If I can actually shrink that production rate to be in line with consumption, that's a big deal. That's a big deal, not just for the power companies, but really for all of us and how we interact and how we think about energy, right? Because I think, I would rather pay less if I can understand that my consumption, if I had detail and understanding of what my consumption was, I would like to know that, right? And I guess I just didn't even know that was stuff that was happening and possible, and it's kind of relieving. I'm pretty happy about it.